So we're just gonna go ahead and get started. I am Jenny Minjares, the productivity coach in the Modesto and Manteca office. You guys know me, but for everybody out there who doesn't know me, this is me. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with open houses today. There's so much with open houses. We're gonna start off with the new forms that just came out. Um, they are called the Open House Visitor Non-Agency Disclosure and Sign-In Sheet. I'm going to go ahead and let Ed take this one away because Ed has been dying to talk about this contract. So can it see him or no?
You can talk.
Okay.
Can talk. Any way we can get it on the screen?
Sure. Somehow. Oh, well, we just start here. Sometimes if the TV is, smart TV, I usually cast this up here so that when people walk into the house, they see it and they're like, oh, wow, look at that. All her information, contact information, picture of the house, my logo, my big head, and then welcome to my open house.
So if you're casting, do you need what am I trying to say? Like passwords or anything?
You know what I mean, if you guys want to do this, it doesn't have to, but I bring my Apple TV and just plug it in. Sometimes you could just cast it. There'll be a password, but probably just on the.
I'm not saying. Hold on. I'm not. Man. Okay.
There you go, Ed.
Alrighty. Thanks.
Take it away.
So this is the new. Some people call it OHNA-SE, whatever. But this is the form that needs to be filled out as people are entering the open house. So in Conversation Ninjas, we've been talking about this a lot. And we've been saying, well, we're going to have to put a bouncer outside. We're going to have to put the velvet rope and the red carpet and the whole 9 yards. Not quite like that. But what's going to happen here is your goal is to meet with the person at the door and to kind of go over these 5 points here that I'm going to go over briefly. And they're going to sign and acknowledge that you've gone over them, these 5 points with them. Okay? It's that simple. If somebody refuses to sign, okay, they refuse to sign. That's no big deal. You can let them in. But this is what they want now. So I'm just gonna kind of quickly go over the 5 points. And me personally, I kind of draw a line between 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 kind of addresses the same thing. Okay, the agent. Currently, you as the agent doing the open house, you're not representing the visitor. You are representing the seller. Okay. Communication with an agent at open house property tour is for the benefit of the seller. So any conversation the visitor is having with you is for the benefit of the seller. You can bring this back to the seller. Okay. And point number 3 actually verifies that. Right here in big black letters, communication with agent are not confidential. Okay, so anything that you talk about with them on the open house is not confidential. He can, you as the open house agent can go ahead and relay any of that information back. Okay, now the next 2 points are if the visitor wants to go a little bit, move forward and wants you to represent them. Okay. So if visitor writes an offer on the property through the agent, so if you're showing the house, Jenny, and they want to do it through you, at that time, agent will disclose if agent and the broker represent the seller exclusively or both the seller and the visitor. Okay. Then finally, if visitor wants to be represented by the agent holding the open house, this little paragraph explains they're going to have to do the buyer's representation agreement.
So if, for number 4, if visitor writes an offer on the property through agent, at that time, agent will disclose if agent and agent's broker represent the seller exclusively or both the seller and the visitor. Yeah.
So just I know this is confusing.
Yeah, it is very confusing.
And it's not very clear. we're going to have to get a little bit more guidance on this.
So
as we
okay, so
move
if
forward.
visitor writes an offer, what if they already have an agent? Let's say that Job's representing them. He didn't show up to the open house, but they're still a visitor and they write an offer on the property.
Go ahead, Linda. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You talk.
The way that it was explained to me is that if a person comes in and they make it very clear that they are not represented by any other agent, and they decide, hey, I love this house, I want to put in an offer right now, can you write that offer up for me? Then you are able to do that, but you have to disclose that I am kind of doing the dual agency thing. I'm representing the seller and you at the same time. So that's my understanding and how I've been trained to explain that.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a little bit of confusion on this. Hopefully they update this and make this a lot clearer. But the next step says if the visitor wants to be represented by you, the open house agent, then this explains that they're going to have to sign.
So I mean, this is
it's
kind of the same thing because I mean, even before, like if let's say I'm representing the seller and I'm doing the open house and I get a buyer for that listing, either way we'd have to disclose if we were representing both.
Right.
They would just have to agree to it.
Right. Was there a form for that though?
No.
Yeah.
So now there is.
Right.
Well,
The whole thing for this form is just trying to make things a little bit more transparent because the lawsuit said people were doing things and supposedly they didn't know what they were doing or it wasn't explained to them. Right. So this is not really changing what
it's just
the agents with integrity were already doing. It's just making it harder for those that weren't operating this way.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is actually now, previously it was in draft, but now it's in official form. So if you want to download it from C.A.R Forms, you can do that. It's in the forms section. Anyhow, and they are encouraging us to get their name, their agent, if they're already represented, email and phone. So like I said, you're probably going to get some people, I'm not signing anything, I just want to look at this open house. You're also probably going to get, I've been to 2 open houses today and I haven't signed anything to get in. So whatever that might be the case, after August 17th, this is what you're going to need for open houses.
So can we still have our regular open house sign-in sheets?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much. All right, great. Okay. I'm going to start from the very beginning of how to do open houses. I know you guys are you guys have kind of been in the business for a little bit longer. Jabjot hasn't done an open house yet, but he's going to be shadowing me on the 10th. So what I usually do to prepare myself for an open house is I get creative. And I do certain things like, when people come into open houses, they want to eat or they come for the goodies or they come for the, the donuts and the coffee and all this stuff. Sometimes I've done a thing where I did a donut wall. So I'll go ahead and I'll get prepared for that. I'll get a donut wall. I'll even get like little bags. I don't have any bags here, but I'll get little bags and it'll like I have these little stickers that say thanks a whole bunch and I'll put little donut holes in there, but I'll have my card on there. So I've done that. I've done a popcorn machine and I've had little bags that say like thanks for popping by. When I sold my ranch, I made little bags of almonds and I put these little tags on it with my information on it and it says like grown with love. I kind of just mold myself to maybe the seller. They like to see that you care about their property and that you're really thoughtful with things. So that's some ideas. I mean, I've seen agents come in with little booklets like for kids with like coloring books or something like that they could take home. Just be creative, be whatever you feel matches with you, you know? So there's that. So I just usually get everything, my ideas all together for what I'm going to do for that open house. I also am now going to be printing out the open house disclosures. So I will be printing these out the night before. I will have everything ready the night before, okay? Even though sometimes you might be rushing the next day, but the night before. Go ahead.
And are you going to be printing out all 3 disclosures we're supposed to have?
We were supposed to have 3 there?
Yeah, there's 3 forms. This one and I believe 2 others that we're supposed to have in the event that they say.
Oh, like the buyer rep agreement and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll probably keep this one out, and then if anything, I'll probably keep the other 2 separate stashed away if needed. I'll print out my sign-in sheets. So I'll have these, my sign-in sheets. And I will also print out a client showing report. So this is for when, somebody walks in and they have the showing report of the property. Okay, it has all the details that you're going to need. And I like to do this one because the client showing report is because at the bottom it says, do you like this property? And it gives you the option, definitely, not really, and then you can write notes. So I like to use this one for my open houses. And then I will bring a speaker because I don't like it when it is silent and awkward and you're just standing there in silence. So I will bring a speaker and I'll bring my card holder. They could grab a card. And then I will have a flyer stand that has a flyer in it so that they could grab a flyer as well. So I'll have everything set up pretty nicely. Ed likes to bring a separate table, so you could totally bring a separate table if you would like. I kind of just use the countertop or whatever's there, like a table, maybe even the kitchen table, things like that. So I will go ahead and I will get my basket ready. There's also some of these if you guys do use a title company. They will give you some of these, and these are home sellers guides and home buyers guides. So sometimes I'll go ahead and have a couple of these out, and people will grab them. Sometimes people who are looking at the house, they might be interested in selling the house first before actually buying a house, so they're going to grab this. Okay? And same with this one. If someone's, really interested in a house and buying, they're going to grab this. They're ready. Okay? So I do keep those around. And also, too, it's a good idea to take this information and kind of make your own little buyer's guides. So if you want on Canva or something like that, you could go ahead and kind of flip these into your information. Put your information maybe on the cover or something, and then use all this information because this is literally like gold. So yeah, you could do that. So I get all this prepared. I get my signs in my car, my truck the night before. I put all of this in a little basket and I put it in my truck. And then, if I need to go pick up donuts or whatever I use to put out on the table, I do that next morning. So when you wake up, you want to be presentable. I know I'm not dressed really presentable, but this is a class and I'm tired. I'm a mom, okay? So you definitely want to dress presentable. I've seen agents come in with a ball cap and some, flip-flops and some shorts, and I'm just like, but to each his own, but definitely you want to come in presentable. You want to look professional. You want to look clean. You don't want to look like you just partied the night before. I know you're young, so I don't know. But yeah, so definitely want to be, showered, dressed presentable. And then I like to give myself at least 1 hour ahead of time to get to the house. So if my open house, let's say, for example, is at 11 o'clock, I want to be there by 10 a.m. So if it's close by Modesto, I want to leave my house by 9:30. I want to give me enough time to get there because what if I get there and my key's not working? That has happened before. Your key to open the house, or key's missing, or something's going on, or you just want to get there. You want to set up. You want to have everything ready. And then once you have everything presented correctly and how you like it, then I go out and I put my signs out. So what I do for my son, there was something I wanted to go back on. What was it? was setting everything out. Oh, times. So times to do open houses. Any time is really a good time, but on Sundays, I highly recommend to do open houses. It's like starting around 12 o'clock because people go to church in the morning and then after church, then they go look at houses. So during a Sunday morning, if you start at open house, let's say like at 10 a.m., like you might not get traffic because people are in church at that time. So I usually start open houses on Sundays around 12 o'clock. Okay. Okay. Back to putting signs out. I usually, so putting signs out, wherever you do signs, you have to look at the ordinances. Am I saying that right? Yeah, the ordinances of the city that you're doing. Because let's say, for example, Manteca, they only allow 4 signs, open house signs, to be out on the streets. Modesto, I think, is 5 we could do, right? 5? Oh, 5?
I didn't know that was a limit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, right?
I only own 3 signs.
Yeah. So, just check. You can Google it and it'll pop up. So you definitely want to check that. When putting signs out, you want to put them where, not in the middle of a crosswalk, not in the middle of, the corner of a walkway, or you want it to be clear that nobody's going to push it over or kick it over or whatever, run it over. You want to make sure that the arrows are pointing in the right direction, because there has been times where I've gone to open houses and I'm like, your arrows are the wrong way. But that's okay, everybody makes mistakes. So there's that. I always put my signs out last, because if you put them out first, people are going to show up before you're even done setting up. So that's something to keep in mind. So now that your signs are set up, it's time to open up your open house. Depending on the weather, if it's really hot, I do not leave the door open. If there's a lot of flies, I do not leave the door open. But I will have a little sign next to the door that says, open house, please walk in, so that they know just to go ahead and walk in. It's always nice to have booty covers there at the front door so that people can cover their shoes. Sometimes your clients might request it, sometimes they won't. It's totally up to them. Usually, if it's fresh, brand new carpet, I do recommend to put, some little booty covers on. And let me see. I think that's that for getting it started. Again, once it's open, put out your little sign that says go ahead and walk in. Now let's talk about interacting with people. You're gonna get people who come in and just gonna try to walk right by you. Like, they don't want to talk, they just want to look at the house, and that's it. What I always say, because I know people always do ask, oh, can you please sign in? And an immediate answer is, no, I'm working with an agent, I don't want to sign in. And then it makes you feel like, okay, I can't ask him again, So what I always say is, hey, welcome in. Can you please sign in so I have a count of how many people came in today? And then they'll automatically sign, because I'm telling them what I'm using it for. It's just to count how many people came in. So they're going to sign in. That's what I always say, and I've never had nobody tell me no. So you can have them sign in, and then, you could go ahead and let them look around, or I always say, oh, make sure you grab a goodie bag, or, donuts or something. Or if they come in with kids, I'll be like, oh, do you guys want donuts? Like, you want to be energetic, you want to be attentive, and you just want to let them know that you're there. Let them know, if you guys have any questions, I'm right here. Just go ahead, take a look, and, let me know. So there's that. I don't follow people around the open house. Like, I literally keep my distance. Like, I want them to look, I want them to be able to have conversations within themselves. So that's that. I know Ed he has review sheets. Do you have any with you?
I don't.
Yeah, I do too. I have that's when I ask them to sign in, is when I give them the little feedback. It has their, name, email, all the stuff that I need if I want to follow up with them.
Yeah.
But now they are like, oh, this has purpose why I'm giving her. So I was like, thank you for viewing the home. What did you think?
Yeah.
It would be great if you could just put that all here, because one, you don't want people to say negative things out loud while other people are in the house. So if you could write that out, and then they normally give, they just fill it out without me even.
Yeah. So, I mean, usually we usually do have more people here, and then they kind of give their ideas of how they do their open houses. So if you like something that somebody else does, like, it's totally fine to do it. Like, nobody's going to be like, wow, you're taking my idea. Like, nobody here is like that. So if there's something that you like they have that form or that sheet, like, you could totally take that idea. Um, once I kind of like start talking to people, I ask them, are you working with a realtor? And they'll be like, I was working with a realtor, but I'm not really fond of that person. That's what they usually always say. And then you're like, okay, great. Did you sign a buyer rep agreement? Yeah, no, I didn't. Perfect. Let me get your information right here. So yeah.
I'll get to that by saying, are you only going to open houses, or do you have an agent show you houses too? And they'll say, I'm only going to open houses. Well, I can let you into any house that's on the market in the city. So we'll, if I can get your information, and here's my information, we can go house hunting any time of the day.
And that's actually really common. That will happen to you if you continue to do open houses. That will happen. Like, somebody will even come even last minute wanting to see the house sometimes, and then they're like not really fond of it, and then they say what Brian just said, like, I can let you into other houses, like there's this other house that's on the market, and then you could go show them, and then that's a great lead right there, or client, because now you're gonna have them sign. So
I do kind of the same approach as Brian, but I say, how do you normally get into houses? So I'm not asking about the agent, but if they have any, my agent normally puts me up, or I'm just going to open houses, and then I let them know. And especially if they're like, well, this isn't really what we're looking for, because ideally you want to sell that home, but I am a real estate agent, and I can sell you any home that I have access to. So
yeah. So yeah, any questions so far? Anything so far? Anything maybe anybody might want to add? What you guys do for your open houses?
I'm going to grab the mic.
Yep.
Okay, so when I do open houses, like our team does, like our agents are doing 3 open houses a day this weekend. So, and you do them in the same price range in nearly the same area. So then you're going to see these same people over and over and over again. So if you don't develop a relationship with them the first time, they see you the second time at another house that's similar to the one that the price range and everything, and then they see you at a third house, or they see you the next day. They think it's divinity. Okay, this person has been placed in front of me twice now, or 3 times.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easier to establish a relationship if they now know you, they've seen you a few times. So that's one way, because my personality doesn't automatically get people attached to me in the first time we met.
No,
But
really?
yeah. But the second and third time is usually a charm.
Yeah, that's good.
And I always have a list of other open houses similar to the open house that I'm in that's in that area. So if they say this isn't working for me, I'll be like, oh, well, there's a house here, a house here, a house here, and they're 5 minutes away or whatever. And if they're open, I let them know that they're open and the times that they're open. If they're not, if you like, after this, we can, since they're close by, I can take you there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So after, you're actually in the open house, you answer questions. There's a lot of things that you should study on a property before going. That's memorizing the square footage, memorizing the lot size, memorizing how many bedrooms, bathrooms. memorizing what schools are nearby, what grocery stores are nearby, if the freeway is nearby. You just really want to memorize everything about this property that you're doing, like as if it was your own home, pretty much.
I don't have one with me. As soon as I know I'm doing an open house, I do an index card, put all that stuff on it, sitting on my desk, looking at it when I'm making dinner, eating dinner, before I go to bed. So try and have that all.
And I know for me, I do, if it's a real cool house, if it's an average home, I probably don't do this, but if it's a real nice home that has great features, I'll actually make a flyer that has just the features on it. And I'll give them the flyer there, but this has something, and I'm like, here's some of the good, and I'll always pick out one thing that I really love, like, I like to cook, so I'll be like, that chef's kitchen, blah, 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 blah. But here are some other features that might entertain you. And so it just makes you look like you're providing value all the time.
There was a house that I did an open house for, you did an open house for it too, in Lathrop. And I mean, the whole house was like a smart house. You could be like, hey, Google, turn down the shades in the dining room, and it would just start, So whenever people came in, like I would point it out, and people would see it and be like, oh, that's so cool. So, you just gotta be confident in what open house you're doing and stuff like that. So.
And then they asked where the second floor was.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So can you role play or just kind of show us when someone is coming into your open house how you greet them?
Yeah. So as soon as somebody comes in, I just, hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. Like, how are you? Oh, great. And then I'll be like, do you mind signing in just so I can get a head count of how many people came in today? And they'll be like, okay. And then as they're signing in, that's when I start kind of like asking little questions here and there. Like, oh, have you got, is this your first house for today? And then they'll be like, no, I saw two earlier. And then I'll be like, oh, where at? And it just starts conversations, it just, that one little interaction will start, tons of conversation. And then, once we start talking, then I'll be like, okay, well, go ahead and take a look. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Here's a flyer, or here's this. Please take it. And then let me know if you have any questions. And here's my card as well. Super simple. I'm simple. I'm just a simple person. I'm not like super extra. Some agents are, which is totally fine. It's however you want to do your business. So, and then after that, if they have questions, they'll come up to me and they'll ask me questions. And then, pretty much it. I mean, at one point I do ask them, are you working with an agent? And it's usually when they're signing. And then, just those questions. And you'll get like, you'll get into a certain groove, kind of like you'll get into a routine, I guess, where you continue to ask the same questions throughout. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So after you've had your open house, I usually do wait at least like 5 or 10 minutes after the open house to see if anybody came afterwards. Usually nobody does, but I just do it anyways. But during that time, I'll go ahead and start, picking things up, putting everything in my little basket. Go ahead and check out all the windows, everything, just to make sure, like, nothing was left open. Make sure the blinds are closed. Just go around, turn off all the lights. And then afterwards, I put my slippers on, and then I go pick up my signs. They have like these little roller basket thingies where you can put all your stuff in there. Like you could put your speaker in there, your card holder, your this holder, and maybe some toilet paper or a toolkit, or that all-purpose cleaner.
Rags,
air freshener, maybe a candle or some Clorox wipes or something like that. So that gum is key. So that you could keep everything in that little box, and then when you do have an open house, you just take it with you. Sometimes people, sometimes everybody has their opinions on open houses. Like sometimes I've had agents that are like, open houses are such a waste of time. Like you just sit there all day and nobody comes in or whatever, right? But then you have some agents that do open houses and they get 3 deals just off of the one client. So like, for example, Alexis, she just graduated from the PC program, but she did an open house and she found a buyer for that open house. So she represented the buyer to buy that house, and then once he kind of flipped it, then she helped him sell that house, and then he bought another house just off of that one open house. She had 3 deals. And then putting her sign out on the listing, she got 2 buyers from that. Just by putting her sign, like her for sale sign on the property. Yeah, she got 2 buyers from that. Yeah. So it could be a hit or miss for people. And again, this is for you to figure out what's best for your business, what you like the most.